always at your doorstep.
Welcome back. Hope you're having a good morning of trade. We definitely are. The SGX Nifty is indicating that the start will be in the green. Ignore that level that you see on the ticker because the adjusted rate is about 50 points higher. Let's get our entire research team to tell us about all the top stocks that you need to watch out for. There are plenty of the financial stocks in the news. But before that, Sonal is joining in to tell us about the windfall tax revision and the impact that it would have. Sonal, over to you.
Good morning, Sonia. Well, it's a big cut this time around because the tax on windfall taxes, so to say, on crude oil production, they have been cut to nil versus 3,500 rupees per ton earlier. Also, the special additional excise duty or the export duty on ATF and petrol, it continues to remain nil. However, on diesel, it has been reduced, but there is some duty. It has been cut to 0.5 rupees per litre from 1 rupees per litre. So, yes, it's a positive where CLSA also says that it is the first time in 9 months that we've seen a cut to zero. The first time it was levied was back in July 2022. Reliance's windfall tax burden after this is at a record low, which is positive. Post-windfall tax realization is at $75 per barrel, which is for ONGC and Oil India, and that's why they have a buy rating here. However, it is important to remember that now crude oil prices, they have surged beyond that $85 per barrel level. So yes, it is a short-term positive, but do remember companies have been able to make realizations between $70 to $75 per barrel only. So we'll have to see which way things go from here.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Sonal. Well, let's hop across to Abhishek. It's the start of a new quarter, so we're getting banking business updates that come in. Abhishek, what do you have on your radar today?
Well, to begin with, HDFC Bank, robust business momentum is seen both in terms of deposits as well as the loan growth. So, deposit growth of 20.8% YOY is perhaps the best in last 11 quarters, and about 8.7% quarter-on-quarter is the best in last 20 quarters. The loan growth is at 17% YOY, a 5-quarter low, but sequential loan growth of more than 6% is one of the best in last 4 quarters. CD ratio has declined due to robust deposit momentum, and in that, the CASA or the low-cost deposit that's grown at massively about 9.6% quarter-on-quarter, which is pretty impressive. Bajaj Finance, the AUM growth is pretty strong despite the competition from banks. The new loans are at 76 lakhs, up about 20.6% YOY, and a decline of 3% quarter-on-quarter, which is seasonal in nature. Customer base that remains strong, growing at 4.5% quarter-on-quarter. The AUM growth at 28.8% YOY and about 7.15% quarter-on-quarter. So sequential loan growth over here is one of the best that you are seeing in 4 quarters. IndusInd Bank, the loan growth has bounced back, perhaps one of the best that you are seeing in last 14-15 quarters. Deposit momentum remained same as we saw in Q3. Advances growth was 21.3% YOY and about 6.6% sequentially. The CASA ratio has dipped a bit. It's at 9-quarter low. However, CD ratio is at 9-quarter high, which augurs well in terms of the net interest margin. So Federal Bank, the business momentum is strong, one of the best in last 14-17 quarters. Deposit momentum of 17.5% is the best in 14 quarters, and about 6% sequential also is a strong growth. Advances growth of 20.2% YOY and about 3.8% sequentially. The CASA ratio on the flip side is at 11-quarter low. M&M Finance, the disbursements and collections are pretty strong. Business asset that is largely the AUM part that's grown at 7% quarter-on-quarter, which is strong. Q4 disbursements are down about 4.8% quarter-on-quarter, but for the month of March, the disbursements have been pretty robust. Collection efficiency for March is at 105%, and asset quality over there has improved. Bandhan Bank, the loan growth is pretty impressive, and the CASA ratio has also improved sequentially. The deposit momentum remained tepid at about 12.2% YOY. However, loan growth was at 11.6% quarter-on-quarter, and despite the adjustment, it was at 9.5% quarter-on-quarter. CASA ratio has improved sharply to 39.3% when compared to 36.4% in the previous quarter. Back to you.
All right, Abhishek, a whole host of stocks that you're tracking, quite a few banking updates coming in there. I'm looking at Vedanta. They come out with a quarterly update as well, and it looked more good than bad. And also you have the dollar index that's cooled off to around 101.5, which is good news for base metal prices on the whole. Let's start off with the aluminum business, which is bulk of their business. On expected lines, that was more or less flattish on the top line. The Zinc India business, well, it looked good. So though you have the refined, the saleable metal, that includes zinc as well as lead, that was up 3%. But the silver integrated volumes, well, they have jumped up by close to around 13%, even on a sequential basis, even on a year-on-year basis. So the silver volumes are quite encouraging. The zinc international business as well, where you're seeing BMM, that mine ramp up. So the total mined metal out there was up by close to around 14%. The only problem is the oil and gas, yet to show signs of, an uptake out there. So there's a degrowth if you look at it, both on a sequential as well as on a year-on-year basis. And that's been the problem pocket. But besides that, all the other segmental data looked quite good. Steel as well was higher with a gain of close to around 18% on a year-on-year basis. And power sales as well. PLF is higher. Balco, you saw higher amount of sales out there. So that as well looked quite good. So we're going with green on Vedanta. But Mangalam's joining us to tell us about Marico. They came out with a quarterly update as well. Mangalam, tell us more.
Well, Marico looks like a decent set as far as their quarterly update is concerned, and largely because the company is seeing gradual recovery, though they believe more is in store once the monsoon's update comes by. But the India business grew in mid-single digit volumes. That's a positive. It was led by Parachute, which grew in high single digits, and also decent numbers coming in from the value-added business, double-digit value growth, which is also a margin accretive business for them. What did not do as well was Saffola Oils, and that's because year-on-year, the same time last year was an absolute high base, and that's important because that also gives you a peek into what something like an Adani Wilmar or Patanjali Foods would report in their edible oils business too. Continued growth for their foods, premium personal care and digital first brands. These are valuation drivers for the company going forward, and as a result of which the consolidated revenue for them grew in low single digits on a year-on-year basis. Importantly, both quarter-on-quarter and year-on-year gross margins and operating margins expanded, so that's a positive. And I'll be watching out for all the other FMCG companies showing margin expansion going forward, given the raw material pressures are easing.
All right, thanks a lot for that. Thanks to our entire research team for joining in and helping us prep for the day. Here is the list of stocks in case you missed out on them. Positive news flow coming in from ONGC, Reliance Industries, HDFC Bank, Bajaj Finance, IndusInd Bank, Vedanta, Marico, Federal Bank, M&M Finance and Bandhan Bank. While guess what? There's no stock with negative news flow on our radar. That's likely to open in the red. But let's find out what's been happening in the world of commodities, because that's where all the action lay in the last fortnight. Manisha Gupta is joining in now to give us the latest on what's happening there. Manisha, good morning.
Morning, and thank you for that, Sonia. Well, absolutely. Another Asian day which has started on a very positive note for commodities. The crude oil prices to begin with is holding 7% of gains in this week. With the OPEC and allies cutting output, the Chinese demand coming back into the market, to the fact that the U.S. crude inventories, not just the crude inventories, by the way, but the gasoline and distillate stocks are headed lower, tells you that the demand seems to be coming back. And then the street is also reacting to the Japan service sector, which grew in the month of March, the most in 9 years, also supportive. The net long in crude oil prices also seem to be increasing, the short covering coming in after the OPEC and allies surprise cut. So that seems to be supporting crude as well. But the major action clearly is in the precious metals, where we are looking at the gold prices in India at an all-time high. The international markets yesterday gained up by $40. So we are just about $40 away now from an all-time high in case of gold in the dollar terms as well. The support also comes in from the fact that the ISM survey showing that U.S. manufacturing activity has slowed down for a fifth straight month. You have the dollar index now trading at a 2-month lows, and the investors seeing probability of a 57% of no rate hike in the month of May. All of that has been supportive. So not just gold, you have silver trading at a 1-year highs, platinum at a 1-year highs as well, and a smart rebound is what we are witnessing in the base metal prices also.
All right, Manisha.